And so I had to I had to really churn a lot because I started in London. After 3 months, I was in front of Bapdada in Malabar, November 1975. And Bava told me that I told Bava that I was going back to Australia. It'd been 2 years traveling. And Bava said to me personally, he said, "You'll go there and you'll find a bouquet of souls and you'll bring them back." I was 3 months in, yeah, and I was there in front of Baba. I did not do the course. The first day I was in the center, I went to the Morley because Sudesh Didi was there in Manda with Jayanti and Daddy Janki. They were traveling, and so I think the center was very small. The classroom was maybe 2/3 of the stage here. That's how big the center was in London. And she didn't know what to do with me. So I see you sit here. So the first day I came into contact with Brahmakumaris, I was sitting in the mall. I did not do the course. I picked up the things as I went along. But since I was a student of, you know what? Rajyoga, the Patanjali. I was practicing the Yam Niyam, which is start off by sharing with someone near you, and if possible, right by genes. If possible, uh, can we have our cell phones in the break only? It makes it difficult to have an interactive course if people are answering their cell phone in the middle. In fact, if you don't commit to this, it's probably better that you don't stay here. Is that okay? Yes. Oh, I don't know. The brother heard, but you need it. These things, okay? And you should share.
네. मतलब आप पीछे से तय ताकि दो होंगे तो आप उनके साथ तय कर सो और पेन आप बागे आ जाओ उन्हीं टीम के साथ तय एक ही
Mun ira sinde dikkat ani hoyo geliyor ki onu hani son
The why um
TV we baki here said that in also matters basis on the like the putrid background they're planning or date activity you wanted and routines. It's pretty much as you said, it seems pretty very tasty. Only one who gets such. It is of the text. You don't believe in the sanitary. You don't know. When it is to be the one in this their ways to I has been understand us. cases. Well, you see, can ladies. That was cutting.
Why? Can someone say?
Shanti.
Yeah, not near the speaker. So not near the other speaker either. You made it.
Sit over here. Om Shanti. First of all, I'm very happy to be here, especially when I heard the name of Ken Bhai. Ken Bhai, do you remember you trained us in first SML training program 95-96 in Gyansru?
You were there?
Yes, I was. So I remember Ken Bhai. He's a great.
Remember SNL, some of you?
Yeah. So I'm very happy because we were in that training program. It was, I think, 16 days long program around it.
Yeah, it was a long.
So we were I think 130 people all around the world and India also. So that was one of the very good training program. They were training us, and our thing was also now. Q, and I used, as you said, universal acceptance.
Yeah.
The 2 or 3 games that what it reminds you of, and that game I do remember. You were always asking me the questions. So I use in my programs, in workshops, in training programs. I was very happy. And especially when the program was announced, it would be like workshop, it would be like, as you said, training for the interactive sessions. So first, universal acceptance, because I already have experienced the way he trains the people and his personalities like that. He always make the people to laugh. And then universal acceptance, and the most what attracted me was the interactives. That is the one of the most important.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that. I think it was the first time that we got Indian teachers to stand up and to use a flip chart or to use a whiteboard or to use PowerPoint view. So it was a time we that practically we opened up the service in a corporate world in India through this course. And then therefore the corporate world started to come along. They started to help. I remember we did some such training in Ambul, and then afterwards they started to donate butter to the institution, like that, So I will come down here actually, even though I injured my knee. It's okay. I had an accident, a funny accident. I was helping fight a fire in our retreat center. There was no fire people, so we had to go there, the brothers, uh, to try to fight the fire. And I fell over in the dark. Was a fight, and I broke my meniscus against a rock. So I have on a wooden bed. But let me tell you, in those early days, I wrote a book called New Beginnings. Maybe you've seen that book out. Yeah. And it was just how, how if I was explaining to myself, what would I say? And it was, of course, approaching Westerners. But it was just my own journey. But then Daddy Janky said you should show this to Jagdish Pai because he was the main author at the time. And it took literally 4 years for him to look at it. I said, Jagdish Pai, did you see the book? Or book? When I gave to you last year. And then the next year, Jagdish Pai, did you see the book? He said, what book? And I said, no, the book I get you 2 years ago, the third year. Jagdish Pai, have you seen the book? He said, what book? He was so busy, right? Finally, after 4 years, he came to me and said, I saw the book. You can print it. So I think it's the only book, at least from overseas, that was approved officially by Jagdish Pai, which was pretty interesting. Anyway, why did you come here? Let's hear a few more. Sister, you look like, just try to stay away from the mic.
Shanti, everyone. I'm from Delhi, Shakti Nagar. Yeah, as a profession, I'm a chartered accountant.
Shakti Nagar, that's Jagdish Pai Center. Wonderful.
Though, of course, we didn't get the opportunity to see him, but of course, we have a lot of books there. So he's still the main person through which we learn. He inspires us. So, as a profession, I'm a chartered accountant, and when I was not in center as a teacher, I used to try and explain Baba's Gyan to all those in my office. So one hurdle that I faced there was how to make Baba's knowledge, make them understand the knowledge in their own way. Because the first thing they looked was she doesn't eat onion garlic. She wakes up and eating the moist. She's right. Yeah, she doesn't go out with us, so we don't want to become like that. So that was the first thing that, of course, they liked a lot of things, but those were the hurdles. So how to make it available to them in their own way. So that was the main reason when brothers course came up. I talked to Didi that Didi, of course, Baba's Gyan is being spread in 140 countries and they don't know the ABC of Bhakti, anything. How are they understanding it? Even I want to know, because a lot of people in India here also, they are in India, but actually they don't believe the same virtues like that. So how to make it available to them, that was the main reason.
Okay, one more. You'll all get a chance to speak, don't worry.
Shanti, Nilesh Bhai from Mumbai, Balloon Center. Professionally, I'm working with Reliance Industries. I take care of the health of the refiner. So basically, we are into Vyasa also. So this, what was attracted to me is like in corporate, we need to give the knowledge of 70 course in a experiential way or a more creative way and more secular way. Like in corporates, we cannot use few words there or few any of the religions related thing. So this platform will give us how to be more creative and get the experiential people, because need more experience nowadays rather than. So that's the workshop which we are looking out for.
Okay, so just a bit of background. The present moment we are going through in the world, in terms of our public, people are looking for experience. Bubba even says this in the book. They want practical spirituality. That's why probably Shivani is so popular. She's made things more relevant. In fact, she's coming to Brazil in May, so yeah, lucky. People don't have time. They have very complicated lives, and the conditions of the world are more and more democratic. So people in their families, the relationships are breaking now. Imagine every single person in the family is becoming more and more Tamil Pradhan as time goes on. It's a natural decline. So that becomes more and more complicated. And at the moment, I'm saying competition. People that teach meditation, vast amounts of people are teaching their favorite way to meditate and trying to make it as easy as possible. And so people have so many options. And they're very good. They get charismatic people who can explain things, and they attract people by their charisma. And there we are, BK teachers sitting down and just how do you say, we've learned something and we're just putting it to others what we've learned. It doesn't really engage people. Even if you look at the BK stuff on YouTube, most of it's terrible. Most of it does not appeal to anyone. It looks like a sect. It looks like a cult. It looks like, in some of our centers, even in the West, you go in, you have one look around, and you go out the other door. All of this Indian stuff I'm talking about in the West, they don't know who is who. They want some practical experience. In fact, in some countries, they even ask us, what do you think about God? So there's a lot of people, 70% of people believe in God. 70%. There are some studies around that show that. I wrote a book that's available on Amazon called The God Experience. The God Experience. I think I looked yesterday. Yes, it's available in Kindle too. So it's 100 rupees. It's the minimum. It's not making money for me. It's making that's the minimum price that they charge for all the work. Anyway, most, I think around 30% of people are Christian. 30% of the population. And then you go down, like the second biggest population will be Muslims. I think about 30% or something. And then Hindus, I think, are like 50% population of the world. Actually, the third biggest group of who's a religion are the ones that believe in God but don't follow any particular path. At first biggest group. So Hinduism would be the fourth biggest. And so on. But 70% say believe in God. So people are asking, what do we offer? What do we offer? What do you see? What's different from our point of view? And we might speak loud. What do we offer which is different from what the others offer? What? Soul consciousness. Soul consciousness. What else? Okay. Pardon? The knowledge of the world cycle? Yeah, the knowledge of the world cycle. But I mean, people don't know that they don't know that they're looking to understand that.
A blend of experience and education both.
The blend of experience, yeah?
Education both.
Okay.
You see, your superpower is directed for others and other meditation, yet is teaching them to.
Wait a minute, you need a part.
The source of our experience is taking the power directly from God. How to experience the power from God, that is not there in the world.
They can't do that. How to have a direct connection with God. Can't do it. Anyway, I always say that realizing unconditional happiness. Unconditional happiness. Okay. No one can do that.
We often say how the thoughts can bring a manifestation.
Wait a minute, I'm speaking.
Okay, yeah. How thoughts can help in manifesting your dreams.
How
Thoughts can help you manifesting the things that you want, and then about how to be peaceful and serene even in worse situations.
Huh?
How to be peaceful and serene even in worse situations.
So, what we offer, here are some of the premises like foundational ideas that when we give the card, first of all, for us, it's Baba's service. Baba's the father of every soul. And so he knows what that person needs. I don't know, but Baba knows, and I'm Baba's instrument, so I should make that connection. I should be aware that this person in front of me is Baba's child. What does Baba say every, several times a week? Become soul conscious and look at the brother's soul as a brother, your brother's soul, and explain in that consciousness. The only this is another thing too. The only experience that people have in common is the original code. Everything else is different. The time that they come here, the role that they play, how many births they have, whether they go into movies, what sort of body, the bodies become different. But everything in the physical world is different. But if I remember that what I'm telling someone, this is someone who is in the home with me. This person at least has the experience of the original state, at least. So as you look at all of the differences, you get lost. But if you remember this thing that we have in common, the word communication means from Latin, comunicare in Latin, establish what you have in common, what you have in common with someone. Then you can communicate. The word common in Latin is commun. What do you have in common? Then if you do that, everything is different except the soul is just a point of light like me. Other thing too, when we talk to someone, we're telling him something which is already recorded in them. Remember that? They also heard this in the last cycle. So I'm not giving something new. I'm helping the soul to connect with something which is already recorded in here. Yes. And the word discover, at least in English, you divide it, discover. It means there's something covering up. Then you have to take off the cover. Discover. Actually, the word develop is the same. Develop. Develop is like envelope, right? Something is wrapping up the person. And you have to develop. Discover. So our job, if these things are already recorded in the people, our job is to help them to take off the cover. Not that, look, I'm so wise, I have so many things to tell you, and this and that and the other. So as instruments, we can give them something extra. Or the deep through connect cover. And therefore, when you're giving the course, our job is to keep to the essence. I can't give an experience if I don't have the experience. So what I've noticed about adult learning, and I can give a little bit of background here. My Lockheed work was as a consultant, a business in corporate world. I worked with big multinational organizations in all of the 5 continents. I work with governments in helping them to develop their strategies. So I learned a lot from that side because I had to. It was easy for me to continue working even though Daddy G complained. but it was probably wiser because most of the good contacts that we have came from the corporate world. Because they saw, they'd ask, well, how come you're so calm? And then I could say, well, I practice Rajyoga meditation. So it was like opening, they saw someone who could be calm in the middle of the confusion. But at the same time, I was developing service. In fact, my Lokik career and my Brahmin life were started at the same time. And I worked, first I started a center in Sydney in Australia, and then Daddyji asked me to go to Brazil. They had received an invitation, and so I went with Baba's blessings. I said, Baba, because in those days we would meet Baba every time he came. The few foreigners, Baba would call us and tell us things. So I must have met Bab Dada personally at least 80, 90 times. So Baba gave me direct instructions about what to do in Brazil. So I went there, I started things, and then he tells me, okay, don't stay just put in the same place, move around. And then he told me in other meetings to start developing service. I had to learn Portuguese, and then I had to learn Spanish. So all of this while doing some Lokik work as well in between. But now my Alokik title is I'm the sub-regional coordinator for Latin America, which is like 19 countries. So if you think you're busy, think about what it's like to coordinate 19 countries and so many centers, so many. So I'm not bound by this thing, right? That in fact, you've noticed it hasn't even buzzed. Why? It's called delegation. Everything is happening. Even the last few days, I was the main coordinator of the integrated retreat of national coordinators and centers coordinators, which happened in Manmohini. So again, good teams working. But I have learned that about how to work with adults. The adults are not kids, so you can't just sit there and speak. Because if you do that, there's an expression that says, if you give everything like mashed up, the food that old people eat or young babies eat, what's it like? Just like a puree, right? So the only thing, if you give everything so pureed, so, bland, the only thing that they learn is the shape of the spoon. So people have an attention span that's becoming shorter and shorter. How many times do you get interrupted by this? You don't need the interruptions, actually. If you organize yourself, you don't need to be hanging off a cell phone. Oh. People are looking for experiences rather than explanations. They need to interact. They need to understand the practicality and the relevance of what we have to offer. They reject dogma. You know what dogma is? Dogmatic approach is when you sound like a preacher. Huh? No, not just rules, but you say things without any reason, without any logic, without any connection to anything. You say things because somebody told you. You say things that you heard, but you don't understand. They're like preaching. So they can pick it up. People are sensible these days. They can pick it up. Yeah. The cycle is 5,000 years long. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How do you know? How do you know? Tell me. Because Baba said.
Yeah, he said same thing in the morning.
Pardon?
The LTDB was saying same thing in the morning. That whenever you say something, always say Baba said this.
Yeah, that's when we're talking to Brahmins. You can't say to public, they ask you a question, you say, well, Baba told me. They'll look at you like, okay, God. They'll just cancel you from their mind. What? Yeah. So, our job is to facilitate learning. Facilitate means make it easy. Facil means easy in Latin. Make it easy. Then there are 3 types of learners. So this is just the introduction, like general stuff. And a good teacher will include a bit of the 3 styles. Some people are visual learners. That means they learn through images, graphs, charts, pictures, posters. They love it. But some people are not visual. They need to see, they need to hear something. So these people learn through words, listening, understanding. They like stories, right? So a story is stronger than a picture for some people. For some people, a picture is stronger than a story, especially if it's personal. You tell someone else about you heard someone had a great experience, and then you're sharing that great experience of someone else. You got to share from yourself. The easiest way to give gyan is to talk from your own experience, because you don't have to invent anything. Of course, if you're not experiencing, you don't have much to say. So you may have the title of being a teacher, but when was your greatest last meditation that you had? 6 months ago? What about Amrit Vela today? How was it? Well, I remember Didi Nimala, because when I went to Australia, she was there, but she left. So I ended up starting a centre in Sydney from which everything started, actually. But she used to say people would come to her with a problem or a complaint against somebody, and she would say, okay, how was your Amrit Vela today? You're complaining, but how is your own meditation? Anyway, and some people are kinesthetic. So it means they learn through doing things. They learn with their hands. They learn with, action, touch. They have difficulty in sitting still. They have to move around. So you've got those 3 types of people in front of you. You've got to be sensitive and include a little bit of everything. And you have 3 things to do, 3 modes of delivery. The first is conductive. That's more or less what I'm doing now, just to setting the context. You speak with authority, you speak from experience, you conduct people. This, and this. But this type of mode should be used sparingly. That you are speaking and there's, people are sitting there. In the conferences that we used to attend, even for many years, they had what was called the International Peace Conference in Om Shanti Bhavan. This was like when it was first built. And they had, you've probably seen it till today, you're 15 people on the stage, And each of them speaks and speaks and speaks, right? And somebody comes on towards it, and I would like to add this, or I'd like to say this. Even yesterday in the Shivratri celebrations, everyone, about 15 people said the same thing. And we used to think that when people clapped at the end of the talk, not because the person said something interesting, he finished. Great, he finished. You know, and the things go on for hours. Have you ever been in a conference where things just went on for hours and everyone at the end is sort of, yeah? Have you seen that? Can't we do things in a more interesting way? Yeah. So that being conductive, you should use that sparingly. The other one is deductive. You explain, you give arguments. You know what rhetoric is? You know what rhetoric is? Rhetoric is when you ask a question, but you don't expect an answer. It gets people thinking, you hook them. You know, just ask a question. Instead of just say something, ask a question and makes them think. Yeah. Okay. Have you, when I say that, have you been to a conference where everything went on too long? I don't expect you to answer, but you think, right? Then if I ask you for an answer directly, please give me an answer, then that's not rhetoric anymore. President Trump is great for rhetoric. Just it makes people ask questions and then, you know, it's not really, doesn't need answer. So you should use this sort of thing, presenting arguments and asking questions to make people think. That's what rhetoric is, asking questions to make people think. When was the last time you had a good experience in meditation? I'm not asking you specifically, but you think, oh yeah, well, about 3 days ago, I was walking, you know, I was in front of this, walking from my room to the hall, and I had a really good insight. And the last one is inductive. Inductive means you create an atmosphere. You create a vibration. Your mind creates a vibration. Yeah? So this involves creating and holding a space through the power of your mind. This guides people. You know, if you have authority, you can guide people to an experience, right? And this has to be there the whole time. So what are the main messages in the course? You know, I'm not asking a rhetoric question. What are the main messages in the 7 days course for you? Who am I, obviously? Self-realization, God realization. What else? What else? Come on. The answer to all situations are inside of us. Yeah, we have to go in and figure it out. Karmic, yeah, the philosophy of karma. Huh? Rajyoga, the meditation, yeah. I asked Daddy Janki when I was, I did some other books, right? And so I was asked to go into a deeper explanation of that book, or a more simple explanation, but deeper, of New Beginnings. So I asked Daddy, what are the main lessons in the course? He said there are 4. Soul, God, Dharma, Karma. That's it. Now, the idea here is to so Rajyoga meditation is to remember the experience of the soul and the connection with the relationship with God. And by doing this, useless and negative thoughts are left behind. We understand what is the sort of the time on the world clock. What is the time on the world clock? Where you look at the news, things are becoming drastic, not bad, but drastically bad. So people are more and more aware of this, You'll see in the news media, I think we are like 85 seconds to midnight on the doomsday clock, something like that. You'll, by the way, so you don't need to think. You'll learn one of the things in the course is to learn about and appreciate the variety, that people are different and that difference is okay. People believe different things and that's okay. They will naturally believe different things. And so the role of God at this time, therefore, the role of Brahma Baba at this time. We'll get to that later on. So the idea of this course is that I've divided the course into 3 phases. Lesson has one part in which you explain. Next one is you experience. And third one is you explore. So these 3 E's: explain, experience, explore. And this is the challenge, because I've divided each lesson into 3 main topics to make it simple. And you'll get to the understanding of this as we go on. So you have 3 main topics, and this is a challenge. Explain for 5 minutes, experience for 5 minutes, and explore for 5 minutes. Then next topic. Explain 5 minutes. Can you do that? Can you explain something in 5 minutes? If you get 1 minute, let's say in an interview on TV, you've only got 1 minute. What do you say? Yeah? Can I do that? Yeah? Have you ever given an interview? Who has given interviews here? Oh, a few people. Yeah? In where? In the company had presentations. So you got 1 minute. Can we try you out? Can we try? I want you to think about it. What does Brahma Kumaris do in the world? That's the question. What does Brahma Kumari? What do the Brahma Kumaris do? What do you do? Okay, that's the question. So I give you a bit of chance to prepare. Then you're going to interview each other. It's training, right? This is training. No. Just explain. No, I'll give you time. What will you say? You've got 1 minute. Actually, I think I'll give you this. It's too much of a challenge. Okay. You've got 2 minutes to explain what Brahma Kumaris does. Somebody must have asked you that question, I'm sure. Got it? So write down what you would say. You can't say everything. What's the main thing you have to say? Got it? You don't have a pad? Okay, here are some pads. How can you come to a... this is a Brahma Kumaris University. You need... I think Baba said yesterday about writing down notes. What would you say? You got 2 minutes. And I'll time you. I'll put the timer on. You know what we did in the training? He was saying, especially arrived. Yeah, where from?
Oh, I'm from London. Silva is from France.
France. And?
USA.
USA. Oh, we've got some...
We made it international.
Huh?
We made it international.
Okay, you've suddenly made this international. Okay. So you can observe until you get used to what we're doing. Okay, just observe. Are you satisfied with your preparation? Yeah, because you'll only be able to talk about two or three ideas, right? Got it? Yeah. When I came to India first time, I couldn't understand because we don't have this movement outside of India. It means yes and no at the same time. It's sort of, you become, let's say, you don't commit, right? Is it yes or no? Anyway, good. Okay, who of the two, you should be sitting near someone. There's a brother in the row behind you. Can you sit with him? No, he's there. He has a partner. One of you, can you go to the row behind you? Can you? Yeah, one of you. So now we are in pairs, okay? Wait a minute, I'll set up the timer. I don't want to put pressure on you, by the way. Let me see. Okay, don't worry about the time. When it starts to ping, it means that your time is up. And so however much you get in your explanation, you stop when you hear this ringing, okay? So who of the two will start? Just have a wait. Who's going to start of the two? Hand up. Hand up the one who's going to start the first explanation. What about you? Which one of you will start? Okay, got it? Okay, good. Okay, 1, 2, 3, start. Okay. Was it better the second time? Yeah? Okay. No preparation by writing. No preparation. My question is, what is the soul? What is the soul? Think about it. Don't write, just think for a few minutes. What is the soul? Now, which one of you is going to be the first off? What is the soul? I'm not asking you to answer here. I'm asking you to prepare something mentally for your 1 minute explanation of the soul. Okay? Got it? Don't worry about the time. Because when it starts to make a sound, the timer, just finish. Okay, so who's going to start off? Which one? Okay, be courageous. Yeah. Now do you understand what we're doing? Got 1 minute to explain what the soul is. You're the lucky one because you're going to just observe because you don't have a partner. Oh yes, you do. Hmm. Are you in the course? Have you come for the course? Okay. Sit here. It's unfair for him to do this and for you to, so you're just observers at the moment. Maybe you can explain to him, right? Okay. 1, 2, 3, start. This one told a joke. Okay. You get the idea. It's not easy. Yeah. So now you're on TV. 1 minute on TV is a lot of time. If you had to pay for it, how much would be a minute on the main channel? It's a lot of rupees, right? So you've got 1 minute to explain the soul. Yeah? And the second one now has a chance because they heard the explanation now, Okay? Can we go? Now the one who listens speaks. Got it? 1, 2, 3, start. Okay? Should I ask if the explanation you heard was satisfactory? Yeah? Okay. Anyway, you get the idea. Sometimes you get lost in your explanation. Sometimes you get lost in listening to the music of your own voice. You lose sight of the time. And you go through the course and you think, oh my God, I forgot to conduct the meditation. Now there's only 2 minutes left for us to meditate. Does that happen? Yeah. So this is a setup. In some cases, we do like intensive courses. So it's like in the form of a retreat. So one lesson would be an hour and a half. So let me show you. If you have a 90-minute course, you start off with silence, obviously. So let's have some silence to start off. I think it's better if I sit up and do this here. There's a lot of clicking to do. So this is how I would divide a course. One lesson. Silence and, hello, welcome. If it's the second day, how did you go from the day before? How is everything? What do you remember? Then there are 3 topics, as I said. It's very interesting to work out what would be the 3 topics. And maybe you'd change these a little bit for Bharat. But I want to show you this. So 5 minutes to explain each of the 3 topics for each of the lessons. And you'll see why I've decided these are the main topics within a course, but it may vary slightly for Bharat. Then you have an experience. You stop and you conduct some thoughts. Okay, I've explained for 5 minutes. Now let's stop and think about this and go consider it. You conduct some thoughts about that. It's actually it's a Rajyoga course, right? It's not a philosophy course. It's a Rajyoga meditation course. So people, when they come to the center, they want to learn to meditate. They don't want to learn about, if they want to go deeply into things, then they start to do another. In the West, we have an intermediate course where you go deeper into each of the 7 topics, actually, and you go deeper into the role of Brahma Baba, and you go deeper into the principles and so on. And then you explore. Exploring is about asking questions also. You get them to talk to each other. What did you learn? What did you experience? How is this relevant in your life, this idea? If you were a soul, how would being a soul or being soul conscious help you in your work or at home? That sort of exploration. So you've got 3 topics. Since it's a 90-minute class, 15 minutes for questions and answers. If they don't have questions, you can ask a question and then go into it yourself, right? You tell them in the beginning that there will be time for questions as we go on, and so they can be thinking or writing down what their questions are. Then since it's a 90-minute class, 20 minutes for meditation and going through the aspects. And then you wrap up, you finalize things, and you have silence. And that's it. One lesson of 90 minutes. Very varied. It's got a dynamic that keeps people engaged. Yeah? Okay, then you adjust. I'm saying this is what we do when we're doing the course in the form of a retreat, like a Rajyoga camp. This is how you do it. Because you're not going to, in a Rajyoga camp, just not going to do 40 minutes. In the centers, yes, because people don't have time. You have to work out how you would lay out things if you had only 40 minutes, right? But there's 60 minutes is common in the West. We do have a course. We call it easy meditation, and it's just soul, God, and karma. That's it. We don't talk about the cycle. We don't talk about the tree. Just introduce the soul and God and talk about practical action, and that's enough to give people at least Baba's basic message, right? So if you have 60 minutes, then you have those, explaining, experiencing, exploring. Then there's just some meditation and silence at the end. Okay? Because when you're experiencing also, just look here. That green part, the orange part is The green part, sorry. The green part is meditation. So if you look in a class of 60 minutes, you've got 20 minutes of meditation. So you can work out the proportion in that way. People come to learn to meditate, and if you don't meditate, just speaking, doesn't get anywhere. Now, of course, you can, when you're starting off the first lesson, when you first come along, it's you have to explain about Brahmakumaris, and we do, and we show them this is the founder and so on. There are some details there that probably more than 8,500 centers and more than 110 countries. This is from 3 years ago. In fact, in the recent integrated retreat of national coordinators and center coordinators, there were people from 101 countries. 101 countries. And so if you're talking about the soul, right? What would be the 3 topics? What do you think? This is the first one. The soul and the body, right? What else would you talk about? If you've got 3 topics on the soul, what would you say? The what? Yeah, the mind, intellect, sense, cars, how they work together. Pardon? Yeah. Could be. Who says that they are 7 virtues? Why 7? But where did you learn about 7 virtues of the soul?
Breathing.
Yeah. But why 7? Why not 10? You see what I mean? This is when you say there are 7 virtues of the soul, that's dogmatic. The soul has many virtues. Actually, there are qualities, not virtues. There's a difference between qualities and virtues. Qualities are like, the example that I use, qualities are like primary colors. Red, blue, yellow, white, black. Virtues are secondary colors. How do you make green? Blue and yellow. How do you make purple? Red. Blue and red. Okay, how do you make light blue? White and blue. So you see, virtues are the secondary qualities. They're what you produce virtues and what you produce with the quality. So there are thousands of virtues, actually, thousands of virtues. Just with the letter C, let's see how many virtues we can create with the letter C. Cooperation, courage, contentment, compassion, carefree, care even, caring, creativity, come on. So many, right? Comprehension. Anyway, so the first thing is, okay, and if we're thinking about an experience, the topic is soul in the body. What's the experience that people need to have? No, the person has to have the experience of the soul in the body, right? I'm going to explain what the soul and the body are, but the experience that they need to have is being the soul in the body, right? It's not enough just to explain. You have to experience. And okay, if you have the experience of the soul in the body, how does that help you? Yeah, you could have a different perspective on things. You can calm down. What else? You see what you need to get involved in, what you draw back from. Yeah. So you see, that's how the logic of this course is: explanation, experience, and exploration. So, what is it? The experience of it, and how is that relevant for you? That's it. And the relevant part you explore together with the people. So, of course, in the first lesson, this is the first lesson, the experience of the soul and the experience of soul consciousness. Topic 1 is the soul in the body. You can adjust these topics accordingly, as I've already said that. But the main thing is to understand the logic of this. This is called didactics. Didactics is the science of how people work with topics, with study material. It's like the teaching mechanism. That's what didactics is. And for adults, it's absolutely important that you don't find kids having, let's say, what is the relevance of this for my life? They won't do that, right? Adults will. They're not even thinking about their life at that point, when they're just young kids. They don't have, what do you call, existential complexes, young kids. But as the ego gets bigger, the complexity grows, right? So what do you explain here? It's the beginning of spiritual development. This also you can adjust. You've got 5 minutes, right, to explain the soul and the body. It's to understand the soul. It's actually the beginning. When you open the understanding of the soul, that starts your spiritual development, because the spirit and the soul are the same. The soul is the energy behind speaking, and you can use examples, right? When you're explaining, use different examples, but not too many. The musician and the instrument, the driver and the car. What else? The what? Hardware and software. A what? The shell on the pearl. That's good. What? I can't hear you from there. Can't hear. Wait a minute. Can you stand up and speak with the voice of a Shiv Shakti? Come on. The mobile and the SIM card. Okay. He said that. The what? A what? Okay. So you got it. But don't use more than 2 examples. It confuses people. Even using one example and exploring it deeply is better. Don't use many examples. Sometimes you hear people, they give 10 examples and people, what? The show on the, wait a minute, and then there's a driver in the car, wait a minute, then it's the, what? It's the actor in the costume. So many. So fix yourself on one example and develop it out. And of course, for us, meditation It's absolutely essential because it actually, the first step in meditation is to go into the state of being the soul. Yeah. So an example that I use is write your name, please. Write your name. Okay, you've got your name there. Look at it. Look at what you've written. Now, that name was not in the pen, right? That name was not in the pen, was not in the finger, was not in there. It was not in their arm. There was something remembering not only the name, but also how to write it. Yeah? That's something that's remembering how things are done and what to do. That something is called the soul. It's the conscious being making, the hands work. So you've showed people practically, even if you stop there, even if you got 5 minutes to explain it, doesn't mean you have to speak 5 minutes up and that's it. You stop in between to help them to think. Who is it that's holding the pen? Where is that name recorded? How do you know that's your name? Where is that knowledge? So these are examples of rhetorical questions. Got it? You don't need answers. Who is holding the pen? It's not the body. The body, of course, physically, yes. But, okay. Where is the way that you write recorded? Everyone has different writing style. That's why people have different signatures, right? And you get, where is your signature recorded? Why do you write that? Why do you write like this? Why do you write like that? Now I can ask you a question. This is not a recording. You get someone, it's not a rhetorical question. Supriya, why do you write like that? Tell me. You. Yeah, you see, it's recorded somewhere. It's somewhere that not only my writing style, but my walking style, my eating style, what I'm interested in eating, what are my favorite foods, all of those things, all of those lists of our life, they're recorded in us. So you can date, then the experience of I and my. I am here in this world. I use this body. I have a thing. When I say my, I can say my hand, right? We're still working on this, the physicalities of writing, right? I have a hand. It's my hand. It's not your hand. It's my hand. My arm. My brain. My mind. My characteristics. So if all of these things are mine, who am I? I don't say I arm. I say my arm. I don't say I face. I say my face, my eyes, my brain, my mind. So who is the owner of all of these things? Is the same one that's thinking and deciding and more showing a capability. Yeah? Okay. And so you can here in your explanation add something like, make it personal. Your own experience. When I first understood this, so on, so on, so on, so on. Yeah. When I first understood this, actually, in my own experience, I had an experience of this before Gyan. I was walking in a park. I sat down. I can even tell this experience. It was snowing. I was in London. Before Gyan, say before Gyan, because they haven't even started it. They haven't finished the course yet, right? They don't know what Gyan is. But for you, right? I was once sitting in a park and it was snowing. The snow stopped, everything was quiet and very white.